Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into the Garbs Challenge, Heavenly Demon 2, and Revolution Army 2 with the new super class ZORO. And in today's video, doing a bit of a showcase of this guy in some of the harder content. Revolution Army 2 and Heavenly Demon 2, obviously, they've been around for a little while now, but they still stand very highly at the pinnacle of hard content. And I'm just going to sort of run these, like, two clips back where we sort of have a chat about ZORO and his kit. Now, ZORO is an anniversary legend. He's one of those special characters, like the waifus, like K-Dad or Kinemon Dendro. But he's very, very good. He boosts Free Spirit, he boosts Slashes as a captain, which is very, very versatile. Slashes have just gotten absolute monstrous buffs. They've always been really, really good, but they just really haven't had the number of units, stuff like Free Spirit, Cerebral, and Powerhouse have really had to make them sort of the pinnacle class. But nowadays, they're getting a lot of support. K-Dad, like Roger's always Slashes. They got Shank's units, Zoro's. You do have a lot of options when it comes to Slasher. But the big thing about ZORO is he boosts Free Spirit as well. He's a Dex Free Spirit unit, and that means he works very, very well with Super Tandem Luffy. Super Tandem Luffy needs a ZORO in his kit to actually activate the Super Tandem ability. They're both Dex units, so they can literally be run on the same Dex-based team. Plus, they can be run as a Free Spirit team as well, whether you use ZORO as your captain or you use Luffy. Obviously, it's probably better to use Luffy because Luffy's a super class Free Spirit unit. However, you can still run Luffy on a ZORO team like we're actually doing right here against Heavenly Demon 2. So, ZORO is a captain. He's a 5.4 times captain if you have a matching slot effect, which is very, very powerful. He's then a 5.22 times captain to Free Spirit and Slashes if you don't. He reduces damage taken by 10% if I remember correctly. And then he also has the ability to increase the chain buff depending on the depending if you have a Wano or a Tandem Orb. So again, works very, very well with something like Super Tandem Luffy. Works very, very well if you use something like Hiyori, which you guys will see in the second part of this clip as well. So that extra part of the ability, I do find very, very powerful. However, it's not something that you are going to, like, really see. And it does sort of, like, tie in quite well with his captain ability. Sorry, with his special ability as well. So, he gives 1.2 times HP as well. So he isn't exactly the most tanky if you compare him to a lot of other ZORO characters. Most ZORO characters have 1.5 times HP. But, nevertheless, having the 1.2 times is actually very, very good. 5.4 times is actually nothing to scoff at as well when you have a matching orb. It's very, very strong. And obviously he's a super class unit as well. So, very good captain ability. The chain addition buff by 0.25 if you have a Tandem or One Orb isn't something you're going to see all the time. However, like for like Kazuna teams and stuff like that, like this guy is going to be an absolute monster. His special ability is very, very strong as well. Demon Aura 9 Sword Style Ashura, Blades Drawn, Dead Man's Game. There's a lot going on in the name of his special. But basically what he does is he reduces the crew's HP by 20%, as you guys just saw there, and then deals 1 million fixed damage, which ignores normal attacks only, to all enemies. It doesn't ignore defensive effects, which I did find very strange. It does ignore normal attacks only, so it does 1 million fixed damage. However, if there's barriers, if there's defensive effects, you'll actually still cop that. Reduces percent damage reduction and threshold on the enemy by 6 turns, and that's where it's very good in Heavenly Demon 2 for this particular stage right here. And then he increases the chain tap timing bonus of Slasher and Free Spirit units by 0.2 up to 0.6. So the way this works is basically if you hit a perfect, instead of getting a 0.3 increase, you actually get a 0.6 increase, and if you hit a good, you get a 0.2 instead of a good instead of a 0.1. Very, very powerful mechanic, especially when you are doing like chain shenanigans. And it's one of my favorite buffs in the game, to be honest, because this game, whilst it's a puzzle game, is built around tap timing. So having that ability to increase that, I always find is really, really cool. Obviously, it's capped at the moment at 0.6, but who knows, in the future they could make that 0.1. So you guys remember how powerful Sugar is when like Sugar first came out? It's basically that same concept. If your friend captain's orb is a Tandem or a Wano orb, is it if your friend captain? I thought it was like if your friend captain or your captain's orb is a Tandem or Wano orb, adds 1.5 to the chain multiplier for 1 turn. So again, if you have a Tandem orb, if you have a Wano orb, I'm pretty sure it's for your captain as well. I'll double check that in between videos. You'll then get an extra 1.5 times chain multiplier. Now, that 1.5 times chain multiplier is like the Yamato effect with her super type. Basically, it's going to turn his special into a 0.9 increase every single time you do a tap timing, which is super, super nice. And then obviously if you have a chain boost, and then you tap with the Wano or Tandem Orb, he's actually going to increase it by 0.25. So he just makes chain boost better. He's all about chain shenanigans. The downside I do find to his special, though, whilst the utility is good, 6 turns of percent damage reduction and threshold is great. You can get around stun with cutting your own HP. 1 million fixed damage is great for stuff like wave clearing. But the big downside I do find to him is if you don't get that chain multiply buff, the damage output that he has is not amazing. It's not bad, and it's nothing to scoff at, but it's just not nearly as good as if you have a 10 or 1 orb. So you kind of want to build the team around the point of actually having that. And if you don't, you can still do damage, but if you don't, like, you do lose quite a significant chunk of damage nevertheless. So that's his captain, that's his special, that's him taking down Heavily Demon 2. Let's dive into Revolutionary Army 2 now. Alright, so moving on to Revolutionary Army 2 now, and we're showcasing Hiyori over Super Tandem Luffy. So that's the team, those are the supports. Let's dive on in. Now, when we are looking at Zoro's captain ability and getting the tandem and the Wano or the Wano orb, as well as his special increasing the chain boost with a tandem or Wano orb, I do find that Super Tandem Luffy and Hiyori are definitely your two best options. They both rotate block orbs, you both can guarantee the tandem or the Wano orb. Obviously, Wano orbs being more powerful, yet Luffy's special obviously gives more damage output. I did check the database as well as the in-game information. It's actually the captain's orb is a tandem or Wano, not the friend captain, so apologies about that. But it makes the Hiyori support on this Zoro so much more viable. Because on the final stage, Hiyori can give Zoro a tandem orb, and then that way, a Wano orb, and then you can actually just apply all of those abilities with his special ability, with his tapping in his captain as well. So that is very, very nice. Zoro is also a super class unit, so if you are running him as a captain, even though he is a free spirit unit, he does give a super class to slashes. So he's a super class slasher character, and as long as you have any of the Straw Hats on the crew, or Hiyori or Yamato, or if you have both a type effect boost and a slot boost status, you can activate his super class. So pretty easy super class to get because he obviously boosts free spirit. And then obviously having Hiyori on the team, like you guys see here, as well as obviously that Luffy I just mentioned, they all work very, very well as very good subs for this particular Zoro. Now, obviously, Luffy's not a slasher, so that's where Hiyori probably, like, triumphs if you are doing these big damage output teams, but it also depends on how you're boosting, how you're building the team. However, if you do use a type advantage, like a color affinity, and an orb boost in the same turn, you will have access to Zoro's super type, super class, which I really do like, and the fact that they're doing this in characters just makes team building with them a little bit more free, and you don't have to sort of abide to the rules of, well, I don't have a Luffy on the team, right, so I'm basically stuffed. You can bring other characters that can do that. The big upside to that as well, having a color affinity and an orb boost with Zoro, is Zoro's superclass is actually an attack boost. So when you activate his superclass, he deals 75 times his attack to all, in non-type damage to all enemies, so very good for wave clearing, great for treasure map. Obviously this guy replaced the treasure map banner, so that's always nice to see. And he then increases free spirit and slashes attack by 2.5 for 1 turn, and then changes slashes into super slasher. Very, very powerful superclass ability. 2.5 times attack to 2 classes is absolutely monstrous. Like, it's so freaking powerful. And the ability to get 2 classes with a very high attack boost that does not get interrupted by interrupts is just unrivaled. Like, it's so freaking good, and it's so goddamn powerful, especially, like I said, just because you can just throw free spirits on the team as well. So the big downside to it per se is obviously if you are building a free spirit team with Zoro, you want to try and like lather in some slashes here and there, but obviously K-Dad, very, very good free spirit slash unit. Hiyori, great slash unit there as well. Oh wait, she's cerebral, my bad. You have a lot of other really good options like Toki, you have other options like Kawamatsu. So you do have options when it comes to doing free spirit slasher teams. But most of the time when you are building Zoro teams, you're probably going to be focused around slashes. Otherwise, you're better off just using Luffy with the Zoro on the team anyway, just for those chain shenanigans. So, all in all, Zoro's kit is very, very powerful. He's going to be great in treasure map, like phenomenal in treasure map, because you can just double swipe down, get the double super class to wave clear. Hiyori triggers that, so you're just going to have Wano orbs. So if you just put Hiyori on the team, you get a full bottle Wano orbs in the start. You're not wasting those Wano orbs. So then you can just go bink bink, get rid of the first 2 stages, and then you're just good to go. Free Spirit Slasher have a lot of very, very good options. And the fact that Zoro is a free Spirit booster as well as a Slasher booster just makes a mile of difference. If this guy was just Slasher-centric, it would diminish him so severe compared to the fact that he actually does have free spirit as well. It just gives him so much more viability as a sub, mainly. As a captain, like I said, it's pretty interesting, but as a captain, I would still much prefer to use K-Dad. if you are looking at the Super Slasher route. However, using K-Dad as a sub for this particular unit is very, very good, because K-Dad can actually be a very, very good attack booster. They do kind of clash a little bit, because the super class of ZORO gives an attack boost, K-Dad is an attack booster. However, like, it can still be done. And if you are running a Slasher team, I probably would, like, lean more towards K-Dad as a leader. And if you're putting a Free Spirit team, or a Free Spirit Slasher sort of team, ZORO is going to be really, really good for that. But if you are doing a more Free Spirit-centric team, Super Tandem Luffy, in my eyes, still takes the cake on that particular route. He has a very good support as well. Goes on any Slasher character, gives a 0.5 chain boost on the final stage, which is great. It's very similar to Superclass Doffy. Love to see it. He's got great limit breaks of pinch healing, crit, and slot binds. So he's a very, very good overall unit. His crewmate, if you are running him as a crewmate, which I do see potential, lots of potential in the future as a crewmate, he boosts Free Spirit Slasher's attack by 125, and he's completely immune to stun, which is super interesting, like really, really interesting, mainly because he's special, right, will then do damage to you, which can remove stun, so I really like that he has that ability. The big downside, like I said, that I found to this guy is obviously getting the Wano and Tandem Orbs can be quite challenging to get the maximized potential of his captain and his special ability. And also a downside to this unit is that when you attack with a Wano or Tandem Orb, he increases the chain multiplier buff, so that's the plus buff to the chain multiplier, not the multiplicative buff that he actually provides with his captain ability, like with his special. Now, I do understand if he increased that, it would be absolutely broken. It would be absolutely insane, but just the synergy of them not working perfectly together kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. But nevertheless, he's built around chain shenanigans, and most of the time you're going to be bringing a chain booster anyway. So that's going to wrap up the Garbs Challenge Showcase for ZORO. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the unit in the comment section below. While you're down there, don't forget to belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel or you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!